Are you looking for items quickly and are worried about long wait times on both Treasure Islands and Orderbots? Or have you gone to get a few items and realised you forgot to pick up something rather important for your next build? Then this video is the solution for you because I have a way for you to get tons of items in Animal Crossing quickly without having to worry about placing orders or going into long loading screens, which will make the difference between you finishing a build and deciding that you need to reset your island. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Twilight. I'm a cozy gaming content creator who is slightly obsessed with all things Animal Crossing. I've been playing New Horizons since launch and I share tips and tricks videos to help you get the most out of your time playing New Horizons. If that's your sort of vibe, please do consider hitting the subscribe button for more videos like this, which can show you new and interesting ways to play Animal Crossing New Horizons. So today we're going to talk about one of my favourite ways to get items when I'm working on builds. If you've ever worked on a large build for your island and you found yourself missing a few items but you can't be bothered with going through the hassle of trying to get those missing items, using a drop bot is going to be your new best friend. I can hear what you're thinking. You've heard of a treasure island, you may have even heard of an order bot. What on earth is a drop bot and how is that any different to some of the other magical islands that exist which can help you get items? A Dropbot works in a similar way to an order bot, but the biggest difference is that you'll typically find them hosted on a treasure island instead of being on their own separate island. Normally when you go to a treasure island, you'll find the player character standing somewhere out of the way so that you can run around and get items. The player character is normally located either around or next to the airport area. But if you're on an island with a drop bot, you'll typically find the player character is more central on the island and maybe in a larger open area which is sometimes marked on the map. The way they work is that you request the items you want, the player character then goes into their pocket and drops the items you want. They're super handy in a decorating pinch, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use them and why you absolutely need to try them the next time you pick up your island. To use a Dropbot, you're going to need access to two different things. The first thing you're going to need is a Discord account, and you need to be over 13 to use Discord as that's part of their terms of service. You're also going to need a Nintendo Switch Online membership in order to use them because you need to be able to play with other people online. Depending on the Dropbot as well, you may also need a Twitch subscription or a YouTube membership, as some of the Dropbots are locked behind a paywall before you can get access to those. As always, I'll list any places that I know of that have Dropbots in the description below, and I'll make sure to add in a note to which ones you do need to pay extra for. If you happen to find any other resources which I'm not aware of, please do let me know in the comments below. I'll go and check them out for myself and then I'll add them into the list in the description. Ordering from a Dropbot is a little bit different from using an order bot, but they work on a similar coding system that was created by Berry Chan. So if you're familiar with using an order bot, then you may be familiar with how this is going to work. There are different places which have drop bots, but the one that I like to use the most and think is the best for drop bots is Tessa's Treasure Islands, which you can only find on Discord. They're an amazing place to get some really quiet treasure islands, which each have their own themes and resources to help you find everything you can possibly need for decorating. I want to say a massive thank you to the team behind Tessa's Treasure Islands for allowing me to make this video and to demonstrate how drop bots work. They aren't sponsoring me for this video. I have used their treasure islands and drop bots for a really long time and I love what they do for the community. If you're looking for a really lovely and friendly Discord server and an amazing team that run the treasure islands and drop bots, please do consider checking them out. I'll leave the link for their invite to the Discord server down below so you guys can get loads of items really quickly and really easily. They also provide this service for free and 24 hours a day, so you can find all of the items that you want really quickly and easily, both from their treasure islands and from the drop bots. Before we get started with this, what is really important that you do before you attempt to use a Dropbot is read the rules and any instructions that are provided by the server before you start using them. Some of the commands that we're going to talk about today may look a little bit different from one server to another, and there may also be limits on the number of items you can request in one go. What I'm doing here is I'm just demonstrating how Tessa's Treasure Islands work for their Dropbots, but you can always double check what the rules are for the service that you want to use and how they prefer you to work. So when you get into Tessa's Treasure Islands, there's a section here called Treasure Island Rules, and this details out both the server rules and the rules for the island that they want you to follow. When you're ready to use a drop bot, you've verified yourself with all of the rules and you know what items you want. There are 4 different commands that you are going to want to need to get items in the game. It's a lot, but I'm going to break down each step so that you get the right codes for everything that you want to order. The The first thing that you're going to want to do is head into a channel that is typically called Item Lookup. In Tessa's Treasure Islands, this is under the Islands section. And then what you're doing is you want to start looking for the items that you want. What I would recommend is that you build out a list of the items you want to order before you go and do anything else. So when you get into this point, you know exactly what it is you're going to be requesting from the Dropbot itself. For me, I'm looking for mostly flower items, I'm looking for trees, I'm looking for bushes, I'm looking for anything that is pink and yellow themed. So we're going to order some items that I can use on this island. The first thing you want to do when you get into the item lookup is you want to look for the item that you want. In this case, I'm going to use .lookup as that is the most common command that you need to use, but do double check with the server what command you need to enter, as some places may look a little bit different. When you enter the lookup command, you then want to enter a space, and then you can search for the item that you're looking for. In my case for this island, I'm looking for festival items. So let's use the festival term, and then I just press enter. This then gives you a long list of things that come back from the bot itself as to what items you can request. And they each have an item code that is listed in front of this. So in this case, we've got 35CE is the item code for the festival drum. We've got 35D2 is the item code for the festival flag, and so on and so forth. If you ever see truncated at the bottom, it means that the list is too long to be displayed. So you need to be a little bit specific if you can't find the item that you need within the list. So what I'm looking for is the festival garland code. So I can either write this down or I can copy and paste it. And then we can start looking at what colorways that item comes in. So to then look up what colorways are available, because right now we just know that this is the item, you then want to use .item and then enter a space and then paste in whatever the item code is that's come back from the lookup code that you had before. So in this case, I want the festival garland. So I'm doing .item space 35C7 as that is the item code for the festival garland. And I want to check what colors this comes in so that I can make sure I'm getting the right color. When you press enter, this then gives you a little bit of a list below that shows you the item that you're requesting and then the different colorways they come in. This will start from code 0 and it will go up to whatever the maximum color code is that is available. Anything that has a 0 in as the color code is the base color for what that item is. So if I were to order the festival garland right now and I use the item code 35C7, it will always come back in the green-yellow variety because that is color code 0. For my island, I'm not looking for green-yellow. I'm looking for more pinks, more pastels, more yellows. So what item I've been using on this island is the rainbow version. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm getting the festival garland in the rainbow colorway. If the item you want has the base color that you are interested in, all you need to do is keep a note of this item code right here, as this is going to be what you want to order. If you want any of the other colors here that are listed 1 through whatever is the maximum for the item that you want, you need to customize the item. So as I'm looking for a different colorway, I'm going to enter .customize, then the item code for the festival garland. Then I want to enter the color code that I want to request. And then when I press enter, the bot gives me a new code that is the customized option of the item I'm requesting. And this is the one that I want to use to be able to order the festival garland in the rainbow colorway. I also need some more triangular topiaries on this island. So why don't we then look up some more triangular topiaries? So I want to use .lookup triangular topiary, or you can use a little bit of a longer one if you're just looking for an entire set. So I want the triangular topiary, but I do need it in a different color. So I'm then going to use .item, enter the item code for the triangular topiary, and then I can see the different colorways this comes in. I need the green version, so I'm then going to use .customize the item code for the triangular topiary, and then enter 1 because I want the dark green colorway of that item. So So I'm then going to press enter, and again, this gives me the color code option that I want. Let's look for another item that doesn't have colorway options. I'd like to use more of the Rover's Briefcase on this island because I think it's super cute. So what you would do is the same process. You would just use .lookup and then enter what it is you're looking for. So let's do Rover's Briefcase. That then just gives you the item code for it. If you're not sure if it comes in other colors or not, it's always worth double checking using the item command. So I'm going to use .item and then enter the item code for the Rover's Briefcase. The bot then comes back and says no customization data available for the requested item. That just means there's no other colorway it comes in. If that's the case, you just need to take this item code here and you can then save that in your list to then order later. You can order recipes as well via a Dropbot, but if you were to use the method we've just gone through to get the recipe, you'll only end up finding the items. So if I then want to use lookup wooden bucket, this then just gives me the item code for the wooden bucket. It doesn't actually give me the recipe code. If you want the recipe for an item, so you want .recipe and then enter the name of the recipe that you're after. So I'm looking for the wooden bucket. And then what you can see is the item code on the side. So this matches the item code that we just requested up here. But then you can also see the recipe order code. So if you're looking for the recipe, what you would do is you would copy the recipe order code, not the item code. So now that you've requested all of the items that you're looking to order via the Dropbot, you're ready to go over to the island. So now what we need to do is go into the airport, talk to Warville and fly over to the island. So now that we're in the airport, what we need to do is we need to speak to Warville. And then we want to tell him that we want to fly. And when you're asked, you want to say that you want to visit someone and that you want to visit them by online play. And then once it's connected you to the internet, you need to then say that you want to search via Dodo code and then stay on the Dodo code screen. So now that we've got ourselves onto the Dodo code screen, we are then ready to start flying over to the islands. All of the islands that are available on Tessa's Treasure Islands at that point in time are listed underneath villager requests. There'll be 2 sections per island, one called queue and one called chat. The first thing you want to do is go into the chat function of the island itself. This is where you're going to do most of the commands that you're going to need for using the Dropbot, as well as any of the commands for the island itself. What you need to make sure you do is check that the last person who used the island has either landed or has flown out. And that is just seen in here by looking at the embedded messages. So we can see here that somebody has left the island and then you are able to visit the island. So what you need to do to then say you are going over to the island is you want to say that you are flying in. This will then give you a note that says that you are soon going to be on the island and you are then ready to fly over to the island. To then get the Dodo code, you need to go into the queue channel, and this will show you the Dodo code for the island itself, along with a map showing you where the items are on the treasure islands. Once you've then seen what the Dodo code is, you then want to head back into the game and then we can enter that code. Once you've then come out of the airport and landed on the island, the most important thing you need to do is then go back into the Discord server and then tell them that you have arrived on the island. To do this, you then want to make sure you go back onto the chats for the island that you're after and then enter the word landed. So then now we're on Tessa's Treasure Island. The format of them is all basically the same. When you come out of the airport, you'll cross over resident services, and then what you'll find on the right is Nook's Cranny, and then this larger section here that just has a player character just sat in the middle of it. This is the drop bot itself, and it will drop any items you request in this area here. Tessa's Treasure Islands are limited to dropping 7 items at a time, so when the player character goes into their pockets, it will only fill up 7 spaces that are within this area here. To then use the drop bot, what you need to do is go into the Discord server, and then we can prepare the drop command that we're going to need to use. So now that we're back in the server, we need to be on the chat channel that we just entered landed into, and then we can start dropping items that we want. So to then drop items that you want to use for decorating, you're going to want to enter the drop command. So in Tessa's Treasure Island, I'm going to use the drop command of .drop, and then I'm going to leave a space, and then I'm going to enter the item code that I want to order. In this case, I'm adding in the Festival Garland in the rainbow colorway, so it needs the customized color code that we had before, and then I'm ready to drop it. And then all I need to do is press enter, and then you'll see what happens in my game. What then happens is you'll see the player character go into their pockets and then drop the item you've requested at their feet. In this case, you can see the drop bot has dropped a Festival Garland for me in the rainbow colorway, so all I need to do is just pick this up and then I can go on my merry way. You can also order more than one item at a time, and all you need to do is follow this command. So we're back in the Discord server again. And then what I'm going to do is set up a command to drop more than one item at a time. So you're still going to want to use the drop command, and then you want to enter a space and then the first item code you want. Any item that you want after this, you need to add a space in, and then the item code for the next item that you want to order. In this case, I want 2 Festival Garlands in rainbow, and then I'm going to leave a space. I want 3 of the triangular topiaries in green that we looked up earlier. I'm going to take Rover's briefcase, which uses the shorter item code, and then I'm going to request one last item, which is the recipe for the wooden bucket. And then once you've got that all set up, all you then need to do is press enter. So what you'll then see is the player character goes into their pockets and then drops the items that you've requested. And that's the last item that I want, so I'll just pick this up. And then as you can see, I've got all of the items that I need from the different drop requests in the order that I picked them up. And then once you've got everything that you want, all you then need to do is leave. But in order to leave Tessa's Treasure Islands, you do need to do something really quickly first, which is what I'm going to show you in their Discord server. So now that we're back in the Discord server and we're ready to leave the island, what we need to do is we need to write in the chat that we are flying out. This is then going to say to people that are on the island that they need to stop using the drop command and follow Treasure Island rules to allow people to come out of the island and to stop people from flying in just yet. And then all you need to do is head back into the airport and then speak to Orville and fly home again. I have to say a massive thank you again to the team behind Tessa's Treasure Islands for allowing me the opportunity to come into their islands and show you more about how their Discord bots work. They are truly an incredible team and have an incredible Discord server that is available for free for everyone. So if you want to check that out for yourself, there's a link in the description below to their services. Despite being a lesser known Animal Crossing Discord bot, Dropbots are one of my favourite ways to get items quickly when I'm working on a large build and I've suddenly realised that I don't have everything I need. But they're not the only quick method you can use to get items for decorating, and if you watch this video next, you'll learn more about another method I've used to get items which has made the difference in me making incredible islands. And I'll see you over there.